Right, everybody, welcome back to the channel now. Since Graham Potter was appointed Chelsea manager, my channel has had an influx of new viewers, new subscribers, so thank you very much. Since the appointment, sort of like last, was it Wednesday or Thursday, everyone's been checking out my two tactics videos that I did on Graham Potter early on in the FM22 cycle. I'll link them down in the description, so if you are coming over as a Chelsea fan or a football fan and you haven't seen them yet, go and check them out. They are tactics based on basically his flexibility as a coach, 3 tactics that he was using for Brighton during pretty much all of last season, and then the box formation that I did with great success against Manchester United in the opening game. Now in today's video, we're going to take a look at a tactic that I've put together, something that I think he may use potentially. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. There's some key players in here that have not been used much under Tuchel at the start of the season. I think are going to get a good go under Graham Potter. Tactic links down in the description, takes you up to FM Scout. You can download it there through your Steam account or the direct download as per usual with my tactic videos. Smash a like on today's video for me. Let me know as well down in the comments how well do you think Graham Potter will do at Chelsea. Alright, let's get into today's video. Alright, just before we get into it, I'd just like to say this is the tactics week on the channel. So tomorrow is Spalletti, Napoli Spalletti. We've got Ten Hag on Wednesday. We've got Ant Postecoglou on Thursday, and we've got Xavi Barcelona on Friday. 5 tactics to finish off the FM22 cycle, so make sure you're subscribed for that. Okay, here is my Potter's Chelsea. Okay, so this is the Brighton box that he's been using so far. This was kind of built around the 2-1 win that they had at Manchester United, the opening game of the season. I think it's something potentially they can use. The only person that I don't think it really suits is Raheem Sterling. We really want him a little bit wider. We could change the player role, as he's saying there. I've got to stay wider, so he may still work those channels. You maybe put him as a shadow striker. That may suit Raheem Sterling a little bit more. This one is interesting because they have been playing with wide centre-backs, and Veltman's been in this role a little bit. And then Reece James has actually played it with sort of like a Ruben Loftus-Cheek as an inverted wing-back. Now, what I would have liked to have seen, it'd be interesting because Potter has used players such as Trossard and even Pascal Gross in sort of like wide wing-back areas. Solly March as well, he's more of a midfielder rather than a defender. It would have been interesting if they'd have kept somebody like Callum Hudson-Odoi, who's obviously out on loan at the moment. It would have been interesting to see if he would have gone with maybe a Reece James in here as part of the back 3. Someone who can really progress the ball, get round, maybe underlaps, overlaps, and then have someone like Callum Hudson-Odoi who's an out-and-out winger on that right-hand side. And then on this side, obviously, you've got Chilwell, you've got Cucurella, more, not defensively, but better defensively than the right side. So something that I think they're lacking. It wouldn't surprise me next season that Callum Hudson-Odoi, if he has a decent season with Leverkusen, Graham Potter works with and looks at using that role. Obviously, I still think the main link for Graham Potter is the centre-forward position. And also, Chelsea fans, this is not going to be the most exhilarating football in the world. They play nice football. He will control games. He looks to control games as best as he can. And he's done it very, very well with his Brighton side. And I think you will see Chelsea's possession stats be really, really high. My only worry is it's just that final third, the cutting edge to score plenty of goals. I do think Broja will get more football under Potter. And another player I think this kind of suits now is Conor Gallagher. Thomas Tuchel's sort of like slow-based possession, passing sideways a lot, doesn't suit Conor Gallagher's sort of like late dynamic runs into the box. However, if you think about the Brighton box, star performers, Moses Caicedo, players like Moepo, players that have got legs, have got energy, can break into that final third. So I think he will be well suited to that box-to-box midfielder role. Obviously, I've been using Kante in midfield because in FM he's absolutely wonderful. But I definitely think, once again, along with Broja, that you'll probably see more of Conor Gallagher as not so much of a bit part. He's looked a little bit lost in this Chelsea side so far. But I think he'll be a player that Graham Potter will look to use more and more. Okay, let me go through the tactic that I have put together. It's my Potter's Chelsea. So we're going with a back 3. We're going to keep it with a back 3, just mainly because I think it's well suited to the players that they've got. It suits Thiago Silva as well, who's probably the outstanding defender still at the club. And they've got a squad that can work around it. Reece James can go in there. Obviously, Azpilicueta. They've got Chalobah. They've got Cucurella that can all go into a back 3. So Mendy in goal, sweeper keeper on support. Koulibaly and Fofana, either side, sort of like wide central defenders, but I've just got them as ball-playing defenders on stopper, so we still get them going into those more sort of like advanced areas as much as we possibly can, with Thiago Silva as a ball-playing defender on defend. We've got two wing backs, both wing backs on attack. I did have Chilwell on support, but he was just holding his run a little bit. He was kind of making a run and then stopping. And I just want, because Sterling often drifts into the middle areas, I really wanted him to be as high as possible, especially when we got these middle three here. We've got Kovacic who's sitting. I really wanted to make sure that we got our wing backs high. So I've got Chilwell as well as James on wing back on attack. Kovacic or the Jorginho, I do like Kovacic. I've just got him as a deep line playmaker on defend, just someone who's going to sit in front of the back four. Will hopefully help recycle possession, switch the ball from side to side as we try and maybe potentially break teams down with low blocks. In the middle of midfield, we've got Kante, the box-to-box midfielder. Obviously, that could be Conor Gallagher, that can be Sakaria, who they've got on loan from Juventus. And then this one's an interesting one. It's Mason Mount. I did think about potentially you could maybe put that there. You could put it as a shadow striker under Havertz. You could put it as advanced playmaker. I've also thought about potentially using Mason Mount as a roaming playmaker in there and maybe having him swap around with a Loftus-Cheek. I imagine who is it can do it as well? Kyle Havertz. I have got the instruction on stay wider just because I would like him to get into these areas here and work with Reece James a little bit on that right-hand side because he's not really got a direct player in front of him. And then we've got the staggered. I think if you're going to play with Aubameyang up front, I think Raheem Sterling needs to be right up there. A little bit, offer him a little bit of support. He's not great in a side where he's, up against two centre-halves. He doesn't work them enough. He doesn't cause them, I don't think, enough issues. So I think Raheem Sterling could maybe work up there in the front too. But for this one, and I think also Broja is going to be better at leading the line. I think we can afford to leave him up there and have Raheem Sterling in what I think is his best position. Inside forward on attack, so he's going to get really high, really direct. But I've also got him sit narrower, so he sort of like starts in these areas here. Then once again, he can link and be a little bit closer to Broja. And at the same time, I think that will see him score a few more goals. All right, into the mentality. We've got positive mentality. We want to get the ball down. We want to play. We want to dictate the tempo. We want to control the game as much as possible. Much shorter passing. It was generally my Potter's tactic is just on shorter, but I think he is going to really work on controlling games by manipulating the ball, keeping hold of the ball, working the ball patiently through the thirds. Tempo slightly higher. Fairly wide attacking width, dribble less. I've actually put that on because there's obviously the fullbacks. I'm not necessarily wanting the fullbacks to do a lot of dribbling. I want them to get into really advanced areas, but I want them to make runs into wide areas so we can get overlaps in. Obviously, there's Raheem Sterling that will potentially do that, but the rest of the team are more of, I suppose your Conor Gallagher's, but he's not really a dribbler. He's a forward player in terms of finding him with late runs in the final third. Kovacic, Mount, Havertz, not all magical at dribbling, so I want them to sort of like aim on moving the ball, shifting the ball, rather than being sort of like a team full of dribblers. Working the ball into the box, we're still putting the balls in there. And I've put that more on for when we've played Aubameyang, really. But Broja does get in the box. And obviously, we still find him. If Chilwell and James get into those wide areas, sort of in and around the penalty area, they're still going to put crosses into the box. In transition, counter-press counter, that's going to be natural. Distributing, rolling out to the centre-backs, we're going to get the play going in there because we'll have a 3v1 or a 3v2. And then out of possession, high line of engagement. He's not a massive... They do press. They press Man United so well, but that was more of pressing traps they'd set up because they knew that Man United were going to be so poor from playing out from the back. So I think without doing an overkill, I think high defensive line is more realistic. Trigger press more often and nothing else selected. All right, that's the tactic. It's down in the description. It said, takes you up to FM Scout. Let's go and see how it looks in the match engine. Okay, so the first highlight is actually a goal from Raheem Sterling. I think we're going to win the ball back in here. We do. Mason Mount in there. Quick passes into... We've actually got Aubameyang leading the line at the moment. And as you can see, because we've got Raheem Sterling, there we go, sitting narrow. I think if he wasn't sitting narrow, he'd be out here. But he's there. He's a little bit closer to Aubameyang. And I think we're going to see these movements a lot more from Raheem Sterling. To be fair, the finish is quite wonderful. Maybe quite unrealistic, but the movement was there. That was what he to try and create. Wanted to try and get in between sometimes, in between the centre-halves, that space in between the centre-halves and the wing-backs, the full-backs. I think that's where Raheem Sterling at his best. And there we go again, just moving possession patiently, shorter passing, we're keeping it. Mason Mount's found a little bit of space, head up straight away. Raheem Sterling working that space in between the full-backs, and there it is. We're going to get so much joy, I think, from Raheem Sterling down this left-hand side this season. There you go, making it 2-0. I think he may become the main man, you know. I think Fofana, that's just a header from a set piece. Lovely header though from Fofana. I think you can really work on Chelsea with set pieces with the height that they've got with Broja. People like even like Reece James is a decent size, the 3 centre-halves. Loftus-Cheek. And then the last one, just showing the high press, something that they'll definitely work on. He'll expect energy. Once again, look who it is. Conor Gallagher pressing, working, forced a mistake from the centre-halves and Aubameyang's in. I think if Aubameyang gets these chances, I think if they can provide better quality chances than what they have in the opening, even last season for players like, who's the dude? Lukaku. I don't think they created enough chances for him. Chances like that where they pressed. Conor Gallagher is going to be so good for the team at that. And I think you will see a new Conor Gallagher for Chelsea for the remainder of the season. And I said, if you provide Aubameyang with chances like that, he will score. And then we've beaten Bournemouth 2-0. I went with Broja this time instead of Aubameyang, just to see just a little bit of rotation. He does lead the line a little bit better. This one's more of a direct play, through ball. He will push defenders back, Broja. Out and out striker, brilliant finish. And I think the next one's actually, is it a header? I think it may be. Once again, good play. Chilwell, Sterling getting in that half space, more of an underlapping run, getting to the byline as he could it. It's actually a cross. There we go. It worked out in the end, but once again, Raheem Sterling getting in that half spaces. I think what we've seen from Raheem Sterling that we didn't see at Manchester City, because he's the kind of the top dog. He's dropped off way too deep, and at times been a bit of trying to be a bit of a playmaker to get things ticking. He's not that sort of player. You want your Mounts, you want your Kovacic to dictate the tempo and find people like Sterling in those final thirds. So that's what you need to see from Sterling. That's why he was so good at Manchester City, working in these sort of like areas where they are celebrating right now, in the penalty areas, tap-ins in the sort of like the 5-6 yard box. That's where we want to see Raheem Sterling. All right, guys, that's it. Let me know your thoughts down in the description. What you think of the tactic? Plug it in. Let me know it works. This is going to be a very ball-orientated possession. You're going to control games. Is it going to be 4 or 5 goals per game? No, I haven't built a tactic to suit the match engine. I've built a tactic that I think Graham Potter may look at using with his new Chelsea side. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Take care. Check out tomorrow's video as well. It is all about Spalletti and their 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3 that they have been doing really well with in Serie A and smashing Liverpool last week in the Champions League. All right, guys, take care. See you later.